I will believe in myself because that's where everything begins. Every breakthrough, every victory, every transformation in life starts with one decision, the decision to believe that you can. Not when people cheer for you, not when the circumstances look perfect, but when you're standing alone, when doubt screams louder than your faith, when you have every reason to quit, yet you still whisper to yourself, I can do this. That's where power is born. You see, life doesn't give you what you wish for. It gives you what you fight for, what you commit to with your entire being, and belief is the foundation of that fight. When you believe in yourself, you stop negotiating with your limits. You stop accepting the story that says, I'm not ready, I'm not enough, I can't do it. Because deep down, you know you were not created to live a life of fear, doubt, and regret. You were built to grow, to stretch, to rise beyond what you thought was possible. Everything in your life right now, your habits, your results, your confidence, all of it is a reflection of what you believe you deserve. If you believe you're limited, you'll act limited. If you believe you're unstoppable, you'll find a way through anything. The world mirrors back the energy you project. Believe you can't, and your mind shuts down. Believe you can, and your mind opens doors that were never visible before. Every champion was once a beginner who refused to give up. Every success story you admire started with someone who made a simple but unshakable choice, to keep going no matter what. They failed, they stumbled, they faced rejection, but they didn't let it define them. They learned, they adapted, and they believed. Because belief is not pretending everything is perfect, it's deciding to act as if it's possible, even when you don't see the proof yet. There's a moment in everyone's journey when life tests your faith, when you've worked so hard but nothing seems to move. When you've given your all, but results don't show. That's when most people stop believing. But if you can hold your belief in that moment, if you can stand tall and say, I'm not done yet, the universe begins to shift. The tide turns in your favor. Because you didn't give up when it was hard, you believed when it mattered most. When you believe in yourself, you start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. You start creating possibilities where others see dead ends. That's the difference between those who dream and those who achieve. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's belief combined with relentless action. You can have the greatest plan in the world, but if you don't believe in it, if you don't believe in you, you'll never follow through. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for someone to validate your worth. The power is already inside you. The potential is already there. All that's missing is your belief. Stand up and declare it. I will believe in myself. Say it until your heart feels it. Say it until your doubts start to fade. Because when you truly believe, you stop asking if it's possible and start asking how it's possible. And when you shift that question, everything changes. Every dream that has ever come true started as an idea in someone's mind, an idea that was nurtured by belief. That belief turned into vision, that vision turned into action, and that action turned into reality. That same power lives in you. You can rewrite your story, rebuild your confidence, reshape your destiny. The moment you choose to believe, the impossible becomes possible. You might not have all the answers right now. You might not see the entire path, but belief doesn't need a map, it creates one. It starts with one step, one action, one choice to trust yourself again. When you do that, momentum builds, energy flows. Life begins to respond. So no matter where you are, no matter how far you think you've fallen, no matter how heavy your failures feel, stand up. Look in the mirror and say, I will believe in myself because everything is possible. The world doesn't change when you get lucky. It changes when you decide to take full ownership of your power, your mind, and your belief. Because the truth is, there are no limits, only the ones you accept. Believe differently, and your life will never be the same. Belief is the foundation of all transformation. Everything you will ever create, achieve, or become starts from what you believe about yourself. Before any dream becomes real, it first exists in your mind as a conviction, a quiet certainty that says, I can do this. Without belief, no plan works, no strategy holds, and no effort sustains itself for long. Belief is the invisible fuel that drives human potential. It's what turns ideas into action, obstacles into lessons, and failures into stepping stones. Every great change in history, every revolution, every innovation, every personal victory has been born out of a belief that something greater was possible. When you believe in something deeply enough, you ignite a force inside you that starts to reshape everything around you. Your body responds to it. Your energy shifts. Your voice carries more power. People feel it when you speak. You begin to move differently, think differently, live differently. That's because belief creates focus, and focus creates results. It's not magic. It's the alignment of your mind, your emotions, and your actions in one direction. When you are certain of who you are and what you're capable of, hesitation fades. Fear might still whisper, but belief speaks louder. The reason so many people never reach their potential is not because they lack ability, but because they've accepted a belief that limits them. They've convinced themselves that they're not talented enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. Those beliefs act like invisible chains, holding them back from taking the very actions that could change their lives. The mind believes whatever it's told most often, and if you repeat your limitations long enough, they become your reality. But the moment you decide to challenge those old stories, the moment you plant a new belief in your mind, you begin the process of transformation. True transformation doesn't start when life becomes easier. It begins when you decide to think differently. When you stop waiting for proof and start trusting the process. When you stop needing others to believe in you and start building that belief within yourself. It's not about arrogance or ego. It's about recognizing that every single human being carries the ability to grow beyond their circumstances. Belief is the seed, and everything else, discipline, consistency, courage, grows from it. You can't have lasting change without first believing that change is possible. Think about it. Every goal you've ever achieved began as a thought you chose to believe. The first time you tried something new, you had no guarantee it would work. But belief gave you the courage to try. It gave you the strength to push through discomfort and the patience to keep going when progress was slow. Belief transforms effort into persistence. Without it, even the smallest challenge feels unbearable. With it, even the greatest mountain feels climbable. It's not the external situation that defines success, it's the internal conviction that you will find a way. Belief doesn't remove fear, but it gives you power over it. It doesn't erase failure, but it helps you see failure as feedback, not defeat. When you truly believe in yourself, you stop running from your challenges and start learning from them. You begin to use every setback as evidence that you're growing stronger. You stop asking why me and start asking what can I learn. That shift in perspective is where transformation happens. Belief gives you the emotional resilience to keep moving when others stop. You've probably met people who seem unstoppable, people who just radiate confidence no matter what's happening around them. It's not that their lives are easier or that everything works out perfectly for them. It's that they've decided to believe in themselves unconditionally. They understand that their circumstances don't define their potential. Their belief does. They've built a mindset that says, no matter what happens, I'll figure it out. That mindset creates progress, and progress fuels more belief. It becomes a powerful cycle of growth. The truth is, every transformation starts in silence. It begins in the moments when no one's watching, when you're sitting with your doubts and fears, and you choose to believe anyway. You choose to get up one more time, to take one more step, to trust that the effort will pay off. That single act of belief creates a ripple effect that touches every part of your life. Your relationships, your goals, your attitude, all of them shift as your belief strengthens. You start to attract new opportunities, new people, and new experiences that match your level of belief. Belief is not just a feeling, it's a decision. It's a commitment you make to yourself every single day. It's what allows you to face uncertainty with courage and to move forward even when the outcome is unclear. When you believe in yourself, You give yourself permission to evolve, to take risks, to fail, to grow. You stop waiting for the right moment and start creating it, because deep down you know that transformation is never about luck or timing. It's about belief backed by relentless action. Your results mirror what you believe you deserve. Every outcome in your life, your success, your relationships, your level of happiness, is a reflection of your inner beliefs about what's possible for you. Most people think their external circumstances determine their results, but the truth is the opposite. Your beliefs create the filter through which you see the world, and that filter decides how you act, how you react, and what you attract. If deep down you believe you don't deserve more, you'll unconsciously sabotage opportunities that could elevate your life. But when you raise your standard of what you believe you're worthy of, your entire reality begins to shift to match that belief. You can't outperform the image you hold of yourself in your mind. You can work hard, make plans, even set goals. But if your core belief says, "I'm not good enough," you'll find ways to prove that true. That belief becomes a ceiling that limits everything you do. You might get close to success, but you'll pull back when it's time to break through, because part of you still believes you're not meant to have it. On the other hand, when you truly believe you deserve abundance, love, success, and growth, you begin to make different decisions, you speak differently, you walk differently, you stop shrinking to fit into other people's expectations and start expanding into who you really are. Every limitation begins as a belief. Somewhere along the way, someone may have told you that you couldn't do something, that you weren't smart enough, talented enough, or strong enough. And if you accepted that message, it became part of your identity. But identities can be rewritten because beliefs are not facts. They are patterns of thought repeated long enough to feel true. The moment you challenge that pattern, you reclaim your power. You realize you've been living in a story that no longer serves you. And when you change the story, you change the result. Look at the people who achieve extraordinary results. They are not always the most skilled or the most educated, but they hold one unshakable truth. They believe they deserve more out of life. That belief fuels their persistence. It pushes them to keep moving even when things don't go their way. They don't wait for permission, they act from a place of worth. They understand that they are not victims of circumstance. They are creators of circumstance. When something doesn't work, they don't say, "Maybe I'm not good enough." They say, "I'll find another way." That difference in belief creates a completely different life. When you believe you deserve success, you stop settling for average effort. You stop tolerating the things that drain your energy and start investing your time into what lifts you. You stop chasing approval because you already know your value. That belief creates a standard, and your standard defines your results. People who believe they deserve abundance operate with a different energy. They show up with confidence, take risks others avoid, and recover faster when they fall. They know that life doesn't reward the most fearful, it rewards the most committed. Your belief in what you deserve also determines how much you allow yourself to receive. Many people block opportunities because they secretly feel unworthy of them. They think, "I'm not ready," or "I don't deserve this yet." And that hesitation sends a message to the world that they're not open to more. But when you shift your belief and say, "I am ready for this," "I am worthy of this," your behavior changes instantly. You begin to speak up in rooms you once avoided. You take action on ideas you once doubted. You attract people and situations that align with your new level of belief. Every result you experience is feedback showing you what you currently believe. If you want to change your results, don't start by trying to change the outer world. Start by changing the inner world. Ask yourself what belief is driving your behavior. Do you believe you deserve to be healthy, wealthy, fulfilled, respected? Or have you been carrying beliefs from your past that tell you to stay small? Once you see the pattern, you can rewrite it. You can choose a new belief that serves your growth instead of your fear. When you elevate your belief about what you deserve, your standards rise automatically. You stop engaging in things that contradict your worth. You no longer tolerate toxic relationships, destructive habits, or environments that make you feel powerless. You begin to protect your energy like it matters, because you understand it does. You start to expect more, not from arrogance, but from awareness. You know that the world doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you believe you deserve. Transformation happens the moment you stop asking for permission to feel worthy. Worthiness isn't earned through achievements, it's claimed through belief. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You just have to decide that you are enough, right now, as you are, and that you deserve to grow beyond this moment. That decision changes the way you show up in every area of life. You begin to think bigger, act bolder, and move faster toward your vision. Because when you finally believe you deserve more, you stop settling for less. Champions are made by faith, not by comfort. Every person who has achieved greatness has walked through fire, faced uncertainty, and refused to back down when life demanded more. What separates those who rise from those who remain stuck is not that they had an easier path or better luck. It's that they kept believing when others stopped. Faith isn't something you feel only when everything is going right. It's the decision to keep moving when everything seems to be going wrong. It's the strength to hold your vision steady when your environment gives you every reason to quit. Comfort may feel safe, but it never leads to greatness. Growth only begins when you step beyond what's familiar and trust that the discomfort you feel is shaping you into something stronger. Champions don't build faith by reading about it. They build it through experience. They face their fears, fall down, get back up, and keep going even when no one is watching. They train their minds to believe that every challenge is an opportunity in disguise. They understand that faith isn't about pretending things are easy. It's about knowing you can handle them even when they're hard. It's standing tall in moments of chaos and saying to yourself, "This will not break me." Because true strength isn't found in ease, it's forged in adversity. Every struggle you endure becomes proof that you can survive, and every time you rise again, your faith grows deeper. Most people spend their lives chasing comfort, thinking that safety will bring happiness. But comfort breeds stagnation. It makes you forget your hunger, your drive, your purpose. Comfort whispers lies. It tells you that average is enough, that you can settle, that maybe the dream you had was too big. But champions reject that voice. They choose faith over comfort because they know that faith expands you while comfort shrinks you. Faith makes you brave enough to take risks, to fail publicly, to keep pushing even when you're misunderstood. Comfort keeps you trapped in the illusion of control, but faith teaches you to embrace uncertainty and grow through it. When you operate from faith, you stop needing guarantees. You no longer wait for the perfect time because you understand that perfect never comes. You take action with what you have, trusting that each step will lead you closer to where you're meant to be. Faith doesn't remove fear. It gives you the courage to walk alongside it. Every time you take a leap of faith, even when your hands shake and your heart races, you train your mind to trust in your strength more than your circumstances. Champions build momentum that way. They start before they feel ready. They move while others hesitate, and that's why they create results that seem impossible to those who choose comfort. When life tests you, faith is what keeps you from breaking. There will be moments when nothing seems to work, when progress is invisible, when it feels like you're giving everything and getting nothing in return. That's the moment most people walk away, but champions lean in. They understand that the process of becoming is not meant to be painless. The struggle is the signal that transformation is happening. They know that on the other side of exhaustion lies growth, and on the other side of fear lies freedom. Every challenge, every rejection, every failure becomes fuel for their faith. They start to see setbacks not as proof of weakness, but as evidence of growth. Faith creates vision. It helps you see beyond the current moment and into the possibilities ahead. Comfort keeps you focused on what's safe and predictable, but faith opens your eyes to what could be. When you have faith in your potential, you begin to act differently. You stop being paralyzed by doubt and start being energized by purpose. You no longer need everything to make sense because you understand that the path to greatness is often unclear. You trust that if you keep showing up, if you keep believing, the pieces will fall into place. That mindset transforms fear into focus and uncertainty into power. Champions live with the mindset that growth is a lifelong journey. They never let success make them soft. They understand that the moment they stop challenging themselves is the moment they start declining. That's why they stay hungry, curious, and humble. They know that comfort is seductive. It lures you into thinking you've made it. But faith reminds you that there is always more to give, more to learn, more to become. The hunger to evolve keeps them alive inside, and that hunger is fueled by faith, not by ease. The truth is, no one becomes great by staying comfortable. Every person who's ever built something extraordinary did it while feeling uncertain, scared, and often alone. But they trusted that the struggle was temporary and the reward would be worth it. Faith gives you that vision. It teaches you to see beyond what is and believe in what could be. It gives you strength in moments of weakness and clarity in moments of doubt. Comfort can give you rest, but only faith can give you power. And when that power becomes part of who you are, nothing can stop you from becoming the champion you were meant to be. Possibility expands when doubt is replaced by action. The difference between those who live an extraordinary life and those who stay stuck in hesitation isn't the number of opportunities they get. It's what they do with them. Doubt has a way of paralyzing people. It whispers reasons why they can't, why they shouldn't, why they're not ready yet. It convinces them to wait, to think, to plan endlessly but never move. Action, on the other hand, breaks the illusion of limitation. Every time you act, even in uncertainty, you weaken the grip of doubt. You prove to yourself that fear is smaller than it seems and that progress is always possible when you take the next step forward. Most people wait for confidence before they act, but confidence is not the cause of action. It's the result of it. The only way to build certainty is through movement. You can think about your goals all day, you can visualize success, you can dream about a better future, but until you take action, nothing changes. Action creates feedback. It gives you data, lessons, and clarity. Every step forward, no matter how small, expands your awareness of what's possible. You stop living in theory and start living in progress. The moment you replace hesitation with motion, your life begins to open up in ways you never imagined. Doubt feeds on inaction. The longer you wait, the stronger it gets. You start questioning your ability, your timing, your purpose. You begin to overanalyze every detail until the opportunity slips away. But when you move, when you take that first imperfect step, you shift your focus from fear to growth. The mind can't focus on fear and progress at the same time. Movement disrupts the pattern of overthinking. It breaks the mental loop that keeps you trapped in what if. Every time you take action despite your doubts, you teach your mind that it doesn't control you. You control it. Possibility is not something that exists out there waiting to be found. It's something you create through action. Every decision you make, every risk you take, every challenge you face expands the boundaries of what you thought you could do. The first time you step outside your comfort zone, it feels terrifying, but then something shifts. You realize you survived. You realize it wasn't as bad as you imagined. That realization gives you courage, and courage creates momentum. The more you act, the more capable you feel, and the more capable you feel, the more opportunities you see. That's how possibility grows, not through waiting for the right moment, but through doing something right now. Action doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. Too many people waste years trying to design the flawless plan, fearing failure more than they desire progress. But every master began as a beginner. Every success story began with uncertainty. The people who achieve greatness are not the ones who had everything figured out. They're the ones who started before they felt ready. They made mistakes, learned from them, and kept moving. Each mistake taught them something valuable. Each step revealed the next, and that continuous motion built the life they once only imagined. Doubt loves comfort. It thrives in silence and stillness. When you sit still, your mind starts replaying fears, past failures, and imagined outcomes. But when you act, doubt loses its power. You start replacing questions with results. You don't need to know the whole path. You just need to take the next step. That one step creates energy, and energy fuels progress. You start to see proof that you can. You start to believe that maybe what seemed impossible isn't so far away. You realize that confidence doesn't come from thinking. It comes from doing. Action transforms uncertainty into clarity. When you're stuck in doubt, everything feels confusing, but once you move, you begin to see where your real strengths lie. You discover what works and what doesn't. You start building trust in yourself because you're no longer waiting, you're creating. Every action you take builds evidence of your capability. That evidence becomes belief, and belief opens doors to new levels of possibility. That's how people grow from hesitant dreamers into unstoppable achievers. They learn to act their way into belief instead of waiting to believe before acting. Possibility isn't a gift given to a select few. It's the reward for those who take consistent, courageous action. The people who break boundaries and create impact in the world are not fearless. They simply refuse to let fear decide for them. They've learned that doubt is a signal to move, not to stop. They use it as fuel. When fear says, "What if it doesn't work?" they respond with, "What if it does?" That shift in mindset transforms hesitation into motion. Each step forward builds a new layer of confidence, and with every layer, the horizon of possibility expands a little more. Life rewards movement. Every great achievement starts as a simple act of courage. The decision to take one more step, make one more call, try one more time. You don't need to see the finish line to begin. All you need is enough faith to take the next step despite your doubts, because action has a magic that thought alone never will. It turns uncertainty into discovery, fear into strength, and doubt into power. And when you live with that truth, you stop wondering if more is possible and start proving that it is. The moment you choose belief, limits disappear. Every limitation that exists in your life begins first in your mind, not in the world around you. The boundaries you think are real, the ones that say you can't go further, can't achieve more, can't become who you dream of being, are built from doubt, fear, and the stories you've told yourself for years. But the instant you decide to believe, everything starts to shift. Belief changes the way you think, the way you speak, and the way you act. It transforms impossible into possible because belief gives birth to courage, and courage unlocks potential that was always there, waiting for permission to be used. You don't break limits by force, you dissolve them through conviction. The moment you choose to believe that you can, your mind begins to search for ways instead of excuses. It starts seeing solutions where it used to see obstacles. It stops protecting you from failure and starts preparing you for success. Belief is not blind optimism. It's a decision to trust your ability to figure things out, no matter how hard it gets. That decision opens a doorway in your mind that allows new ideas, new strength, and new energy to flow in. You start thinking differently because you've stopped seeing yourself as powerless. When you believe in yourself, you activate the part of your mind that was built to create, to lead, to achieve. You stop waiting for proof that you're capable because belief itself becomes the proof. Your energy changes. People notice. Opportunities begin to align because your actions now match your potential instead of your fears. You become magnetic to progress, not because the world suddenly becomes easier, but because you are no longer resisting it. Belief puts you in a state of motion, and motion is what transforms lives. The moment you choose to believe, you take command of your direction instead of being driven by limitation. Limits are not real walls. They are invisible lines drawn by doubt. Every time you've said, "I can't," what you really meant was, "I don't believe I can." The difference is powerful, because once you recognize that your limits are mental constructs, you can tear them down by changing your belief system. The greatest transformations happen when someone stops accepting those invisible lines as truth. When they choose to rewrite their story, they start creating momentum that no obstacle can stop. Belief turns limitations into challenges, and challenges into opportunities. That shift in perception is what separates those who merely exist from those who truly live. Belief isn't something that appears out of nowhere. It's something you choose every single day. It's built through small victories, through moments of courage when you act despite fear, when you push a little harder, when you refuse to quit. Each of those moments strengthens your belief muscle. And as your belief grows, your limits begin to fade. You realize that the barriers you once thought were unbreakable were only reflections of the level of faith you had in yourself. Every time you overcome one, your world expands. What was once impossible becomes normal, and what was once normal becomes your new foundation for growth. You've seen people do incredible things, people who came from nothing, people who faced impossible odds and still found a way. The difference between them and everyone else isn't luck or talent. It's belief. They decided that failure would not define them. They decided that circumstances would not dictate their destiny. They made a choice to believe so deeply that no external limitation could convince them otherwise. That kind of belief becomes a force of nature. It bends reality because it pushes a person to act with absolute certainty, and certainty always finds a way. When you choose belief, your perception of yourself changes first, and then everything else follows. You start carrying yourself differently. You speak with more conviction. You stop apologizing for wanting more because you finally understand that wanting more is not greed. It's growth. You begin to trust your inner voice more than the noise of doubt. The limits that once felt like cages start to crumble because belief gives you the power to outgrow them. You stop asking if it's possible and start asking what it will take. That simple shift from question to commitment is where freedom begins. Belief doesn't eliminate struggle, but it redefines it. When you believe, challenges no longer look like stop signs. They look like training grounds. You start to welcome resistance because you know it's making you stronger. You begin to see every failure as feedback, every delay as direction, every setback as setup. That mindset transforms your life because nothing can defeat a person who refuses to stop believing. Every time you're tested, belief becomes your anchor. It reminds you of who you are, what you stand for, and what's possible when you refuse to give in to limitation. The moment belief takes over, your potential becomes limitless. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You no longer wait for opportunities. You create them. You stop asking for guarantees and start trusting in growth. Belief gives you the clarity to see beyond what is and the strength to build what can be. It lights a fire inside you that no amount of fear or doubt can extinguish. And once that fire is lit, you become unstoppable. Not because you have no limits, but because you no longer believe in them.